All right, I'd like to call to order the regular meeting for Lafayette Township Board of Trustees and Fire District.
At least you remembered it.
I didn't, he did. But I gotta teach him how to turn it on. But there you go. Oh. Play. You don't want to, here, you don't want to play, you want to record. Yeah, right there. Okay, I would like to call to order the regular meeting for Lafayette Township Board of Trustees and Fire District, October 3rd, 2022, 7 p.m. Roll call vote.
O'Neill.
Roll call.
Fullerton.
Warcola. Also in attendance is Law Director and Fiscal Officer. Rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, again, we're going to try the agendas on the screen, see if we can get a little bit better luck than I had last week. We do not have the meeting minutes from last month or last meeting ready for approval yet. They're still being put together. This is our first meeting of the month, so we do not have a consent agenda. We don't have formal reports from any of the areas. All we have is if there's anything special to bring in. So we'll start with Fiscal Officer.
The resolution to accept the tax rates, please.
Okay. All right, so we got this, I'll just read it off. Resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. Do we have, this is from the auditor's office, do we have a motion to approve this?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Same sign? All right, so moved.
And that's for both sides?
Yep, that's for both sides, yes. All right, anything else from fiscal?
No, thank you.
All right, Service Department, anything to bring up?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Myers for the plow for the new 650 truck. It's $7,070. They were $2,000 less than the second best bid that we had.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Martin.
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign? All right, anything else from Service?
Nope.
Fire? Anything?
Just a reminder about the open house Sunday from 1 to 5, and then just to let you know, several CPR classes for the people in the area over the next several days. Personnel's doing those.
Okay, great.
Chief, what was the date on that? You said
Open house is Sunday
Sunday,
from 1 to 5.
1 to 5. Got it.
Okay. Police?
I don't have anything.
Okay. You don't even want to talk about the rapid response for the missing person that you drove the ATV all the way from the city down to?
We did assist Sheriff's Department down on the corner of Daniels and Greenwich for a missing person last week. And we did take the UTV, and it was a long drive.
Okay. All right, anything else?
I don't.
Zoning? Anything?
Couple things. Excuse me, I'm sorry. At the last meeting, we received the notice of appeal to section 10, or Article 10, section 10,005 and 10,007 concerning Dollar General. I did forward that to Dollar General as well as the ZBA, and in discussions with Dollar General, they have agreed to make all of the necessary changes, and I do have copies of corrected site plan that does show all the 3 items that were missing.
Okay, good.
I believe at this time, if you are in agreement, you've all seen it, I gave it, well, not copies, but you all saw it. And I believe at this time, according to our law director, you need to vacate the existing certificate, and then I can write them a new certificate with the corrected site plan.
Okay.
And I would respectfully ask that you do that at this time, please.
Do we have a motion to vacate?
I will motion to vacate the initial permit.
Do we have a second? Yep, go ahead. I'll second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, same sign. Okay, so vacated.
Okay, do you want to sign it now or at the end of the
Well, we
meeting?
need to vote on the new one, too.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, please vote on the new one.
Okay. We have a vote on either approving or not approving the amended adjusted site plan for the new proposed Dollar General. What say you, trustee O'Neill?
I would make the motion, but I would also like to add that the fees paid for the permit the first time around are transferred to this one, being that it was our fault that the initial one was vacated.
Okay, fair enough. And your vote is?
I make the motion to do it.
Okay, I'll second the motion. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Aye, those opposed, same sign. Okay, carried, so we will sign that off at the end of the meeting.
Okay, I also have a couple of Mylars that you need to sign off, so don't run away from me tonight. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
Oh, well, I'll wait and see if
Okay.
it comes up.
Okay. All right, any correspondence?
We did get a letter from prosecutor's office. I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it, about a property on Chatham Road. I looked at it, and at this time, I don't think we have any reason to go after it.
Okay.
I don't know that we need to make a motion or just not respond. We have to
Well, we
respond by
just,
Friday.
I think we just tell them that we're not interested,
That's fine.
if that's the case. Bill, you're probably more knowledgeable than anybody on the board about the idea of the land banking.
Yeah,
Do you want to kind of explain to everybody?
well, if the property doesn't, you can go in and bid on the property because it's going for sale if you think it has some value to the township. Otherwise, you can wait and see if it sells. If it doesn't sell, you would have an opportunity to claim the property as part of the land realization program. Again, if it has any value. You'd have to chip on a couple of properties where you bought them to demolish basically junk things that alleviate nuisance problems. But at this point, there's really no need to respond unless you really want this property, and then you go in and bid on it. And if that's the case, you'd have to have authorization of how high you're gonna bid, et cetera, et cetera.
And I agree with trustee O'Neill, I have no desire. Ty? All right, so we'll let this one just kind of die on the vine then. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Public participation. Yes.
Lee Lipka, 6570 Falker. Just wondering if we got anywhere on the one that was living there?
Okay, yes.
I did manage to find a number for Alan Pace, and I did talk with him. And he says that he had to leave his home sooner than he thought, where he had his existing home, and he hasn't been able to find a place to rent. So he has been staying in the RV until he finds an apartment. Now, he told me he would close down the RV and cover it. I'm not sure if he was able to do it last weekend, but I told him, you know, that had to be done, and he needed to look very seriously for some place to live, that he can't live there. He also mentioned that he's received a lot of harassment in terms of oil lines, fuel lines have been cut on the vehicles that are out there, and things of that nature. Obviously, he has no idea. He doesn't know who's doing it.
Has he reported that to the police?
I'm not sure if he did or not, to be honest with you.
No, he is not.
Okay.
So, he's aware of the situation. I told him he couldn't live in the RV. He needed
Okay.
to get out as soon as possible, and he said he would close it up. Has he covered it up yet this weekend, last weekend?
He's still living in it.
All right, then he's,
I've got him leaving the property this morning.
okay. But that's what he
So
told me.
what's our next step? I mean, he's not allowed to do it, so what do we do next?
Well, he said he would try to do it last weekend or this next weekend, so I don't know, Bill, how far, I mean,
Give him a reasonable time.
Yeah.
And then you would formally cite him.
yeah.
And then if he doesn't do it, you would generally go to the prosecutor's office and ask him to file an injunction.
Okay. Can you please keep up with him on that?
Oh, I'm sure Ellen will be back in touch with me,
Okay, all right,
so I will
Okay.
be with him.
thank you. We'll keep after it.
What about the other issues?
What other issues are you,
The piping that he planted in the back?
well, I have nothing to do with piping. If any water or stuff is coming out of there, they need to go to soil and water at the county.
Your zoning, right?
Zoning doesn't handle water discharge.
Did you contact anybody at the Soil and Water just to advise them of that being a potential issue, or no?
I have not, I don't think
Okay.
that's the area. If there's a problem, either the person who's complaining about it or the homeowner, but it's not a zoning issue, is it, Bill?
If
No.
he's put the
No.
bathroom inside the building, that's not zoning?
Pardon me?
If
No.
he's putting some kind of facilities?
No, that is, no. Zoning covers a lot, but we can't cover everything, so,
So the sanitary issues wouldn't fall under zoning. So that would have to be, I guess, and all you need to do is give,
we'd have to call the county as far as the discharge of water to see whether or not it's interfering with any of the normal drainage. And
well,
the other
what
one,
the discharge is.
As I said, at this point, I don't know, we even know what the discharge
we
is.
don't know what it is.
Right, right.
So,
But who at the county would be the right, would you start with sanitary?
It'll depend on what the discharge is, really.
Well, but you, without knowing that.
Without knowing it, I think that you might want to contact the health department and the sanitary.
yeah, because if it's,
And stick them on it, that they can
Right.
send their people out there and determine what it is and take the appropriate steps.
And if it's, if it's, somebody said there could be some kind of liquid fuel or something, that would be then, they'd get the EPA involved, so.
Yeah, I don't know what he.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
depends.
But somebody's physically gotta go out and check, and that's outside of our authority to do. Health department could do that definitely,
Okay.
okay? If you don't get a good response from the health department, give me a call and I'll call as well.
All right. We talking about the county health department or city?
County,
All right.
county. Okay. All right, anything else? Yes, sir.
Justin Paroli, 5637 Birchwood. I sent you guys a letter this afternoon, and I know maybe the short notice is why I wasn't covering correspondence, but it outlines exactly why the police levy renewal can be done as a simple renewal, and there's no reason residents' taxes unnecessarily.
When did you send the letter, Justin? I didn't see anything.
It was sent about 4:30 this afternoon. It took some time to put together. Obviously, there's a decent number of financials that need to be reviewed, outline that. But reserves have been put away in the past from other police levies that would cover the shortfall tax collections, not even considering the amount of additional revenue that's coming in with all of the building. Obviously, we're all aware of the current economic situation. We're all aware of the fact that appraised values are going up. Everybody's looking to get a bigger tax bill no matter what. And our police services are an essential service to this township. I don't think anybody, I don't know if people realize how much the city does for us in comparison to what just coverage from the sheriff's department would look like, but it would be a significant hit to our
Be a
community.
huge hit.
So what I would ask you guys to do is, based on this information, and obviously you guys can take a chance to take a look at it, but I would like you guys to make a commitment to the community to not collect the increase, should we vote to pass it. That's definitely something that's within your ability, and there is precedent for it. In
What?
fact, I believe we have a voted ambulance levy that the township hasn't collected in 20 years.
Mhm.
The,
But we already said that though, Justin.
that you won't collect the increase.
If we don't need it, we won't collect. I don't want to collect more money than we have to. To be quite honest, there was $120-some thousand left in a police fund
Right.
from prior that, I'll be honest, it made me wonder why we were collecting and adding a surplus every year to a levy if we didn't need that much. Should we have years ago cut the levy back? But I haven't got a chance to dig into it deeply enough to find out. But if I could finish, please. But I'd said before that if we don't need the money, we're not gonna ask for it. The problem is when we had to file this, going to the auditor's office and getting the current information from the auditor, telling them how much we needed. I followed their directive, and that's what I presented to the board. And here, this is what the auditor said we needed to do in order to ensure we would get the $400,000, it's actually a little bit over that, but the $400,000 rounded up that we needed. That was based on what we had current at the time. Are things fluctuating? Do things change? Absolutely. But I will not take a gamble and spend money that I don't know we already have. There was a trustee who was here for a long time, and she told me something very good once. She said, don't spend money that you don't have. We didn't have that money showing up in our certificate of resources between that and the money we had in the police fund. Let me finish, please. Let me finish. And I'll give you, if you do the math, we weren't gonna make it out the full 5 years. I didn't want to take the chance of running short. If we do get additional money, and if we do get additional funding coming in, and if the information you're sending shows it's different, we will absolutely not collect that 2/10, the extra 2/10. I will guarantee you that. I don't know all the proper procedures to do that, because this is the first levy I've ever experienced, but that I've ever been a part of, because levies in the past were run by one person.
But you were a part of the board.
I was a part of the board. We don't want to go down that path. We can, but I don't want to get personal. I was a part of the board.
You don't want to get personal. The only thing to get personal would be to say that one trustee did all the work and you didn't bother to do your job. That would be the only thing there would be to say.
No, actually what it was one trustee coveted and did everything, and when another trustee tried to ask to get involved, was told, I've got this handled, don't worry about it. You take care of the fire department because nobody else wants to deal with them.
Okay.
And that's the way it went. But at the end of the day, if we don't need the money, we will absolutely not collect it. Absolutely, positively not collect it. And if we find out, further to that, if we find out that the collections are gonna be high enough that we can take some off the levy, then I would propose to our board that at the next opportunity, we would introduce a levy with a reduction, a renewal and reduction. I don't want to collect more money than we have to collect, period. I have no desire to do that whatsoever. And I'm a little bit offended by the implication that I would want to do that. Just my own personal opinion. But I do agree with you. You've asked me, I don't know if I can say that, never mind. Bill says I'm not allowed to talk about if I favor or don't favor the levy.
Okay, I'm not worried
But
about
that's-
that, but I had a couple questions.
No, I'm done, yes.
Okay. So I guess the first question that I'd have based on what you just said is, you kept referring, and it's not the first time that I've heard this presented this way, is that you went to the auditor's office and they told you what to do. But I think a more accurate representation of the process is, all the auditor does is tell you whether or not, like what millage you would need in order to collect a dollar amount. They don't sit down and look at the budget and say,
Oh, exactly.
you guys need to collect X number of dollars to run your township. The budget.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and that's correct. That is
And then,
absolutely correct.
as far as budgeting, I've done records requests asking for the financial planning that's
Mhm.
been done by the township. And you did appropriations in March, and you did the tax budget, telling the auditor's office how much you need to collect in
Mhm.
July. Outside of that, there's been no financial planning as far as what money's coming in, where it's allocated, other than the 3 pages of appropriations and allocations, right?
Are you talking about, have we gone down and done
Have you
a
sat
line?
down-
I'm just saying, are you asking, do we do a
So
line
when we
item budget?
When we do a budget for the homeowners association,
Mhm.
a whopping $30,000 that we manage for a homeowners association, we take and we say, we're gonna generate $30,000 in revenue this year. X is gonna be spent on landscaping, X is gonna be spent on insurance, X to attorneys, every single penny is planned. Everything that's coming in, here's exactly where it's gonna go. Did you guys do that with the $4 million you managed for Lafayette Township?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Would you like to know why? Or would you just like that as an answer?
Well, you can give an explanation, but if you didn't do that, I don't know how you can possibly sit there and say that you know for a fact that you have to collect extra money, or that there's no explanation for it.
I wasn't going to take money, my own opinion, I did not want to take money, nor did I advocate taking money out of the general fund, out of any of the other areas we had to finance a police levy. The police levy needed to stand on its own.
Okay?
Now, if we, again, and I'm gonna say it again, so I'll make sure everybody's very, very clear. If we don't need the extra 2/10 of a mil, I don't wanna spend it. Now, it doesn't come out to be a whole bunch of money. I think trustee Fullerton came up with something, it's on a $200,000 home, it's $15 a year, but it's still money. I mean, I'm paying 3 times what I paid for a gallon of milk 6 months ago. Everything is going up crazy. I don't want my taxes to go up either. I don't think anybody, does anybody here want their taxes to go up? To get the same thing? Nobody does. I mean, that's not a secret.
Right.
That's not a secret. I don't want them to either. And if there's a way we cannot do that, we will. But I'm not gonna put us in a point that says, I think that's what's gonna happen, I'm pretty sure that's what's gonna happen, so you know what? I'm gonna roll the dice and play Vegas and assume we're gonna be okay. I won't do that, Justin.
What did the city's renewal, their commitment was for 5 years at $400,000 a year,
400,000, yes.
Okay, so the current levy, based on the certificate of resources that was provided to you by the auditor's office, how much did the police levy that we currently have, based on the current tax rates, how much did it collect this year?
I'd have to pull that out. I don't know the exact amount off the top of my head.
It's $373,000, $373,800.
Okay, that may be.
So we're talking about a $26,000 shortfall. On top of that, they gave you guys projections for next year. Do you know what the levy at the current rate is projected to collect next year?
If I remember right, it's around 380 or 390.
It's 390 something, so we're talking less than a $10,000
Mhm.
shortfall. We both know that everything's growing, but let's just say it stays at the 370. That's $26,000 a year. 26,000 times 5, and these numbers are a little fuzzy, but they're pretty close. But 26 times 5 is 127, 129. So what I'm saying is the police fund that you refer to itself has the money to cover it, guaranteed. But yet you're jeopardizing our services for the police department by asking the voters to approve a renewal with an increase on the faith that you will decide not to collect it later. And regardless of what the reason is, the optics of it, you have to agree. It looks really bad when you say, we won't take it if we don't need it, but we didn't do a budget this year either, so. You can laugh all you want, but you didn't.
Justin, I'm not gonna gamble back and forth with you. I won't. I mean, it's okay. It's all right. If you want to say that we didn't do a budget, that's fine.
I
will
didn't say
tell
we
you-
didn't do
I
a
will
budget.
tell
I asked
you-
for a budget, and the public records request said we didn't do one. You guys said you didn't do one.
You're right. Do a public records request on budgets for the past 3 years for the township and find out how those budgets were done.
All right,
And then report that back at the same meeting.
sure.
And also report
Sorry,
back how many times over the past, since I've been a trustee since 2017, we've said, whoops, that bucket doesn't have enough, let's just take some money from over there and throw it in here. I was an engineering manager. I was an engineering manager for 20-some years. I am the most anal person when it comes to money in a budget. Our accountants hated me. My budget would come in right on the numbers, but bucket A would be a little high and bucket B would be a little bit low, and that would annoy me, and I'd try to figure that out. That's never been the issue here. Since the day I started, that's annoyed me here. But it's just been, that's the way things are done. You have a bucket of money. You have all these different subdivisions. We had at one point, Chief, how many different accounts did we have for repairs on vehicles? For every different vehicle, we had a different repair account. We had hundreds of line items of accounts. And if one ran short, money just got shifted from a different area to put in there. So what I would say to you, Justin, is I know what I have to spend at the end. That's where my end number has to be. As long as I haven't overspent that, I'm okay. Now, you don't have to agree with that. And if you don't agree with it, then there's ways that you can become a member of this board and you can change things. You can try to change things. But that's,
The only point that I have there is, you're talking about not wanting to move money around buckets. You're not wanting to take the money that the township's already collected and have to reallocate it. So in order to not have to do that, the solution is to come to the taxpayers for more money. I think, and I don't like speaking on behalf of everybody, but I think you'd be hard pressed to find a taxpayer that would say, yeah, you know what, instead of moving money from one account to another that you already have, come to my pocket and get more of it. I mean, is there anybody here that would rather, I mean, you're talking about not wanting to move it around.
so if
but-
I have to take money out of the service budget and we can't get another plow to plow the roads and keep them clear. That'd be okay?
If I have to fix something at my house,
Mhm.
I don't say, oh, well, you know what, I'll just go tell my boss to give me more money instead of taking it out of my playing golf fund or my fixing this fund or my gas fund. It's gotta come from somewhere. I don't have the luxury of just going and saying, I need more money, so let's have the taxpayers give it to me. And by the way, instead of saying, hey, justify a new truck for the service department, we'll do it on one of your most essential services. That's the game government loves to play. Like, hey, we've got this budget, we do all these things. If you don't give us more money, we're gonna take away your fire or your EMS or your police. It's never all the extra stuff that doesn't really make that big of a difference.
You think we have that much extra stuff?
I've given you the numbers. You can have it at it.
Do you think there's that much extra fluff in the township budget?
The
You've done
shortfall-
enough- you've
the
done enough
shortfall on
digging,
the
Justin.
police
You know better
levy is
than that.
Less than $10,000 a year. You could have done a renewal with a decrease if you were budgeted properly. And you know what's funny? You bring that up because you talked about the previous administrations and how they always made you move money from here to here. But they always reduced levies. The only time we've ever passed a new levy for more money was when we passed, well, I shouldn't say ever because that goes back forever, but in recent times, the only levy that's been passed for more money was when we built this building. And they made a commitment to pay it off early, which they were on track to do. You were part of that.
That's right.
And hopefully you guys stay on doing that. But those police levies were always renewed, and most of them had decreases with them. And you guys could have done the same thing, but instead you did a renewal with an increase because it was easier.
Yeah. I respectfully disagree with that.
That's fine, and I'm still gonna support the levy because we need it, but you guys screwed us.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah.
And as I said, if we don't need the money, we will not collect it. And you can believe that, or you don't have to. That's your choice. That's your choice. Anything else? Thank you. All right. Anything else, anyone else? Okay. We do not need an executive session today. Yay. Old business, Dollar General. Is there anything else under Dollar General that we need to talk about? I know we were going to vacate, that's what that spot was held for. Is there anything else we need?
I think we covered that during zoning.
Okay, that's out. Police levy, anything else?
Covered that.
Okay. Employee appreciation dinner. Chris, you had asked at the last meeting a rough idea for cost. Last year's dinner was, they've held the last couple of years, was $27 a person, if I remember the number right. So I don't know, it depends on how many people come to the get together. Okay,
Thank you.
all right, any new business? Okay, with that, I would make a motion that we pay the warrants of the township and adjourn. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, those opposed, say I'd stay here by myself. Okay, thank you all very much for coming, appreciate it. I remember to turn it off, Sherry.